it big. With me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to Washington football overtime. Washington, Dallas, just like Washington's offense today, couldn't get Google Drive to work. Don't know what the hell's going on. That's what took me so long to get here. And that's why the score isn't up in the right-hand column, left-hand column, depending on how you're watching it, like it normally is. I was fiddling around with it, couldn't get it to work. But again, just like Washington's offense, don't know what the hell happened. And so this game went exactly like I thought it could if everything went wrong. And when we talked about how Dallas could dominate us, I said if their front dominated our front, that's how it would happen. That's how it would transpire. If we couldn't block them up front, it was going to be a long afternoon. What I didn't account for, and one of the keys to the game, control what you can control. We couldn't, and let me get my bitching out of the way because I don't want to make this about outside influences like the officials who were awful today. Every call that could go wrong did go wrong against us, okay? They missed a bunch of calls on Dallas. They called everything on us. That pass interference that they called on William Jackson III might be the worst call I've seen all season, and we've had some bad ones. It was ridiculous. But we did so many things to ourselves that even though the officials were horrendous today, they tried to give Dallas the game. That's not why we lost. That's a small part. They kicked our ass in every facet of the game today. And that's the part that's so disappointing. And if you want to take a silver lining in all of this, if you want to have one thing that you can take away and say, well, damn, at least we get them in 2 weeks, is we played as bad as a team could possibly play on offense. The defense hung on for dear life despite having all kinds of injuries. And the worst part about this game isn't the fact that we lost. It's the fact that we lost this game and had a bunch of injuries to boot. Our center just broke his ankle. Our big-time receiver just had a concussion. He's not playing next week, and we don't know when the hell he's coming back. Our starting quarterback just went down to a knee injury. Don't know his status. Our left tackle injured his back. He did come back in the game, but who knows what it'll be like after the adrenaline wears off. We got a slew of other injuries. Bobby McCain went down in this game as well. Don't even know if he returned or not. We left this game in much worse condition than we came into the game. But if you want to take one silver lining away, is that for as bad as we played, they beat us by 7. That's not a great Dallas Cowboys team that we played today. As a matter of fact, they're not very good. If you want to be honest, their defense is what kicked our ass. Their defense looked all world today. And I still think there were opportunities, but you can't shoot yourself in the foot and think you're going to beat a team that on paper is better than you, okay? They made plays, we didn't. That's really where it starts, where it ends. Kendall Fuller's got an interception in his hands, he drops it. They made plays. Their guy bats the ball in the air. That wide receiver screen, if it gets into the hands of DeAndre Carter, it's a house call. He bangs his head on the goalpost. But that's a hell of a play by Randy Gregory. I mean, what are you going to do? It's a hell of an individual effort. I'd like our tackle to cut him. Get him down on the ground. Don't let him get past your cut block and then bat the ball in the air and pick it off. Do your job. Control what you can control was one of the biggest keys to the game, and we didn't do that today. Antonio Gibson fumbling the football. DeAndre Carter with a costly drop, okay? You get a stop on 3rd down, and you're going to be offsides and give them another opportunity? Come on, Wise. Be smart. Don't be a retard. Be wise. Well, you weren't wise on that play. You gave them another chance, and they got a touchdown instead of having to settle for a field goal to make it 6-0. We shot ourselves in the foot. We made every wrong play. We turned it over 4 times. 4 times. 3 of those turnovers led directly to Dallas Cowboy points. And we still only lost by 7. Why? Because their offense isn't that good. Our defense held their offense down in this game. We picked Dak Prescott off twice. Should have picked him off 3 or 4 times. We played well enough to win this game defensively with our 5th and 6th string defensive ends, mind you. We played good enough to win this game, and our offense was anemic. It was putrid. And I want to say this, and then we'll get to the comment section. Dallas beat us up at the point of attack on both sides of the football. They manhandled us. They out-physicaled us. They did all the things that we said we wanted to do in this game. We wanted to win in the trenches. We wanted to be the more physical team. We wanted to exert our will on the Dallas Cowboys, push them around, make them inferior up front. Well, they emasculated us up front. They harassed our quarterback. They battered and bruised us. They forced turnovers. They were the more physical team. They were getting 3 and 4 yards on the ground. They were the more physical football team. They established that early. They established it often, and that's why we lost this game. We looked soft in this game. For 3 quarters, we looked soft. We looked scared. We looked intimidated. And yeah, the crowd, that was a Dallas crowd. They played at home today. That's why they brought their bench, because they were at home. They made themselves comfortable in our house. I'm sick and tired of it, but I'm not going to complain because I'm not willing to set foot in that stadium until we get a new one. So I can't ask anybody to do something I'm not willing to do. But that was ridiculous, okay? But that's why the fans don't come back, because of performances like this. But we fought, and I told everybody in the MOBB, I got a call from Law at halftime. He called me when they were up 24-0 at halftime, and just to gloat a little bit, just to rub it in, just to have a little fun. That's my guy. So I picked up the phone, and I told him, I watched the Pittsburgh Steelers come back on Thursday night, make it a ball game. And I told MOBB, we're not going to win this game. I said, but I bet you it ends up being close. I guarantee you that. They will not embarrass us scoreboard-wise. If you watch this game, the game was not as close as the score indicates. They absolutely manhandled us in every facet of the game. It was embarrassing to watch. However, you look up at the scoreboard, and you look at how this team fought, and you look at all the mistakes we made, and you look at all the injuries we had going into the game, all the injuries we incurred during the game, for the score to even be in a position to be a one-score game, us having the football and a DeAndre Carter drop away from really making things interesting. The fact that we even got it there tells you that this Cowboys team, not that much better, and they dominated us, and they won by 7 points with mistakes that helped them get to 27. Literally, it's 3rd down. We're getting off the field and we're offsides. The next play is a touchdown. They sack our quarterback, scoop and score. Like their offense didn't do anything today. Nothing. So if there is a silver lining, and it's hard to have one after a performance like this, it's that they played as good as they could play against us, forced us to do all the things they wanted us to do, and they only won by a touchdown. If there's a silver lining, that's it. But I'm not going to keep pulling on that, because there was so much bad with today's game. And I want to talk about those things, and I know you do as well. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. So let's get to the comment section. And this is going to be a long one, guys. F. Altus, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. F. Altus writes, I am still trying to figure out how we had a chance at the end there. A lot of people, it was funny. My guy, Derek B. in the MOBB said, how are we even in this game? It felt that way. But that's what happens when the defense continues to fight and the offense just stay the hell out of the way. At this point, I was just telling the offense, just don't turn it over. After the Gibson fumble, like, just don't turn it over and they won't score any more points. Their offense is incapable of doing it on their own. Just stop turning it over and they won't score anymore. That's how they got all their points. Outside of the opening drive of the game, that is how they got all of their points, off of our mistakes. Stop turning it over. And the fact that you look up with 5 minutes and we've got a chance, and you know, the omen that we weren't going to win was the blocked extra point. And that's the kind of day that it was. You get the touchdown, you're all excited. I'm thinking, because I had already told the MOBB, I said, we're not going to get blown out. Ron Rivera in November and December, he doesn't get blown out. We may not win the game. They're not going to blow us out. And so I look up, Cole Holcomb makes the play, and I'm like, I want to walk these bitches off. I want to walk them off 28-27 on their skulls, hurt their feelings, and really derail their entire. If they lost this game, their season was done. They wouldn't have known how to respond to that kind of trauma. And that's what I wasn't looking for overtime in 27. I wanted to do these boys in regulation. And the table had been set. The stage had been set. And then all season long, extra points and field goal kicking woes have kicked our ass. And what do you know? Block damn extra point. And that's when I said, we're not supposed to win this game. We're not supposed to win this game. But we did what I asked them to do, which was fight and get it to a one-score game, make it look respectable. And that's what they did. Make them sweat a little bit. The fact that they thought they could just rest Ezekiel Elliott and not play him after pretty much the second quarter, kiss my ass. So I was like, yeah, bring his bitch ass back in the game. And they had to. And I loved it. Shut his ass down, get the football back. And we did. But Kyle Allen did exactly what Kyle Allen does. The play before, he throws a beautiful dime to DeAndre Carter. He can't secure it. And then the next play, he fumbles. I thought it was an incomplete pass, but don't give the officials, who are absolutely horrid today, an opportunity to take your last opportunity from you. Don't do that. And I thought that was a bad play call by Scott Turner. It's 3rd and 3, bro. Run it. You know you're going for it on 4th down. Run the damn ball. Anyway, that's just me. He says, ugly game, but we need to game plan better in 2 weeks. I will put a lot of stock into the direction of this team if we can't right the wrongs from today. I don't want to talk about 2 weeks. We got the Eagles next week. You guys are talking about Dallas again. Like we got a bye week and we play Dallas. We got the Eagles next week. Like this shit could go from bad to worse. Our season can go from, man, we were right there on the cusp of climbing over 500 to we don't win another game this season. The injuries are a real issue now. Like it's becoming a problem. We could sit here and talk about depth this and depth that. But at some point, you've actually got to have healthy bodies that can actually play at a high level. We can't be bringing in William Bradley Kings off the bench and expect this team to not have issues. We can't be bringing in a left tackle like Sadiq Charles and not expecting pressure on the quarterback. Like at some point, we need real, healthy, talented bodies, and we're running out of them. It's getting scary at the wrong time of the season. Got another super chat. This one is from, see where we at. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, shit list, refs, O-line, AG, Carter, Sweat, PA team. I mean, there are so many others you could add in there. Heineke was not good today. Now, a lot of that was the offensive line wasn't good, but Heineke wasn't good. He made some poor decisions. He got away with some throws. I talk about Prescott could have thrown 3 or 4 picks. Heineke could have thrown 6 or 7 picks today. I mean, he was awful today. This felt like New Orleans all over again, where he started pressing. Like, that's the thing that I've noticed with him. When we get down and it gets tough, he starts pressing and he starts trying to do everything himself. You're not good enough to do that. You have to play within the confines of the game. And if we got to punt, we punt. But he was trying to make these throws in these windows with 3 Cowboys around. I'm like, get his ass off the field. I didn't want to bench him. There were people in the MOBB calling for him to be benched. I didn't think that was the answer. But you could see, because I want to see him play his way out of a funk. You know, like that's how you find out what a quarterback has in terms of his mental capacity, intestinal fortitude. Can he bounce back? Yeah, it's been a rough day and you've struggled and your team struggled. But now you've got an opportunity. I would have loved to have seen Heineke, not Kyle Allen, with that football late. I guarantee you we find a way to get down there and make things really interesting if that's Taylor Heineke. He's not going to fumble if with the game on the line. I can tell you that much. So, you know, that was frustrating that it was Kyle Allen and not Taylor Heineke, because I don't have any confidence in Kyle Allen in those types of moments. The last 2 times we put Kyle Allen in that exact moment, he did the exact thing he did the last time we put him in that moment, which is fumble the goddamn football and fumble the game away. So I had 0 confidence in Kyle Allen getting us down the field, but he threw a dime. He gave us a chance. And DeAndre Carter, who was awful today as a punt returner, let the ball hit the ground at least 27 times. And as a receiver, he was awful today as well. Didn't do anything in that department and had a couple of drops, none bigger than the one down the field. It was a rough day all the way around. This was a collective failure on the part of this football team. JH from Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Who writes, I am proud of the way they fought back. Very proud of them. I'm proud of the way they fought too. Them fighting, however, doesn't negate the fact that they were awful for 3.5 quarters. So that them fighting doesn't negate the fact that they got dominated. They got roughhoused and they got disrespected in their house. They let another man come over here with a cheeseburger in one hand and a mic in the other, announce that they were going to beat us, and they let them come in here, score 18 points in the first quarter, and pretty much take us out of the damn game in the first quarter. That I can't wipe that from the memory bank, but at the same time, they took it to us. I got to give them credit. They brought their benches here, and they brought their A game defensively here, and they kicked our ass. I am proud of the way we fought, because past regimes, and I've said this before, you know, I said it last year when we would dig these humongous holes and we would dig ourselves out, but not do enough to win, like Detroit last year. You know, there were several other games that we dug ourselves, both of those Giants games really, but especially the second one, where we dug ourselves these massive holes only to climb back, but not do enough to win. I said, look, this team has resilience. They have the ability to fight. That's what Ron Rivera is all about. These guys continuing to persevere. They did that in this game. But that doesn't excuse what we watched for 3.5 quarters. That was embarrassing. And that really pisses me off, because everything we wanted was in front of us. And that Cowboys offense, they're not good. We got all those weapons. And I told you, the one guy that scared me, he didn't play today. So I felt really good. And we shut their offense down for the most part. The offense literally gave this game away. And that's frustrating. That's a bitter pill to swallow. Robert Mitchell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, Cam got the spark going. We just couldn't capitalize. Yeah, that was a huge catch. I thought Cam was outstanding. He was one of the few bright spots on the day. That was a hell of a catch to go up, climb the ladder, use that frame, and be tough and strong with the ball. I put this in the MOBB's chat. I said, that's what I've been waiting on from Cam Sims for 4 years now. That catch right there, that kind of play. That was what I was waiting on right there. And he was huge, made some big catches, showed strong hands, showed good physicality. I thought he was fantastic today. And we need more of that from him moving forward. And we may need him even more so, because Terry's probably going to be out next week at a minimum. He may not see the Cowboys the next time around. I mean, he really banged his head tough. That's why the ball came out. It wasn't because of the impact of the ground. Terry could have survived that. His head hit. He was out cold for a second there. Head hit the ground and he lost consciousness for a second. And that's why the ball came out. His whole body went limp. You saw it when it happened. I saw it live. And then they showed the replay, and it was even more evident. So we may need Cam Sims to step up in an even bigger role next week. That was a huge catch. But, you know, the reason we weren't able to capitalize off of that is because we grabbed the momentum with that play. The defense gets a stop, and Gibby gives it right back. And I'm sick and tired of that shit too. And the guy's super talented, but at this point, the man leads the league in fumbles with 6. This shit is not, it's not, you know, a coincidence. It's not a trend. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. And I saw somebody just write Gibby cost us. No, he didn't. We were already down 24-7 or whatever, 24-8 at that time of the game. Could we have made something? Maybe. Who knows? But like, that wasn't the reason we lost the game. We lost the game because we got outplayed, out executed, out schemed. We got out everything in this game for the most part. That's why we lost the game, not because one guy had a mistake. So many people had mistakes in this game. You can't just single out one dude. Viral Hip Hop News, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Viral Hip Hop News writes, number 4 came with that non-alcoholic shit today. Shaking my head. Yeah, this was Heineke, you know, 0 alcohol, 0 calories, you know, the kind you can drink at work and feel good about it in the green bottle. What's the point of that anyway? What's the point of a non-alcoholic beer? Who came up with that genius idea? Thanks. No, thanks for nothing. Anyway, he did look like that today. And we've seen this from him before. And that's scary, because when things aren't going well, he starts to revert back to, I can save the day. Except you're not at Old Dominion University anymore. And you're not playing against Hofstra anymore. you're playing against teams that have tons of talent, and your arm strength and your ability to fit it into tight windows, that shit doesn't fly here. You're not playing Division II football anymore. So you can't do that anymore. So I said this, and sometimes fans need a reminder, because I was non-committal on Heineke. I kept saying, I don't know if he's the long-term answer. There's more football to be played. But I've always erred on the side of he's not a starting quarterback. He's a high-level NFL backup quarterback. And I love him. I love the guy, love his competitive spirit. I want him on this team. I think he's a part of the solution, not part of the problem. But as a starter, games like this remind you that he is what he is. There are limitations to his game. So for whatever that's worth, he wasn't good today. He wasn't good enough today. Deontay Cole, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Deontay writes, Louie, first and foremost, Dak was horrible today. And yes, I'm concerned, but the ass whooping my defense gave y'all was everything to me. It was downright dirty dick Dallas dastardly. It was. And I was so disappointed in the way, because this is the thing everyone was talking about. All the Cowboys fans kept saying, what are you going to do now that we're getting Randy Gregory back and we just got DeMarcus Lawrence back and Micah Parsons is unblockable and we're getting Neville Gallimore back and all of yada, yada. I was like, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I was afraid of your defensive line, but I said, we've neutralized better this year. But that's when we were fully healthy. Okay, we've neutralized better. We didn't do that today. We got our asses kicked up front. And that was going to be, to me, what told the story. I could tell you early on if we were going to have an opportunity to do the things we needed to do to win or not by how we played in the trenches. And it was apparent early. We got our asses kicked. And I said, this is going to be a problem and it's not going to go away. So what your defense did to us, you're absolutely right. It was everything. And Dak was ass today. And we had opportunities. And that's the part that's frustrating. If the offense just didn't turn it over, if they just punted, I think we win this game. I could be talking crazy right now, but if we just punted instead of turning it over and scoop and score, turning it over, offsides, touchdown, instead of turning it over, field goal. That's 17 of the Dallas Cowboys' 20 points. They got a field goal before half when we were playing soft, and they got a touchdown on the opening possession. Or was that a field goal? They got a field goal on the opening possession. They got a field goal right before the half. Those were the two legitimate possessions that Dallas scored on. Everything else was pretty much handed to them by our offense. And that's the sad part about what happened today, is it didn't have to be this way. Dak was awful, but your defense made up for it in a massive way. Thank you for the super chat, Deontay Cole. Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Johnson writes, Micah is what we thought Chase Young would be. Yeah, I mean, I never thought Chase Young would be that, because they're two different types of athletes. Chase Young isn't a 4.37 40 guy. Chase Young isn't a stand-up, move around. He could come from the A gap. He could come from the B gap. He could come from the C gap. He could come off the D gap. He could come from anywhere. He's not that guy. He could be if they just moved him around, but they refuse to do that. The only thing we see from Chase Young is he's on the left side of defensive end and he's at the right side. He's a totally different type of animal, is Micah Parsons, because of his athleticism and his ability to move around and be a chess piece. We saw this coming out of Penn State. Like, this is why we all were drooling over this kid. The only thing that, people had concerns about was the off the field. Haven't heard anything about that to this point. He's been phenomenal. And I've said it all along. I'm going to continue to say this. No, Chase Young isn't the athlete that Micah Parsons is. But don't tell me that Chase Young can't be the kind of impact player that Micah Parsons is if you utilize him correctly. We don't utilize Chase, and I think he's poorly coached, but that's nor here nor there. That's a different discussion for another day. We don't have to talk about that right now because Chase Young's not playing this year, the rest of the season. Cowboy Hater 21, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Cowboy Hater 21 writes, I thought Heineke was the answer. I was so wrong. His arm is so weak. He puts our running backs and receivers in bad spots to get lit up by the defense. We need a true quarterback. Like I said, these deficiencies, these limitations, if you will, they have been prevalent all season long. And we've talked about them after specific games. Winning masks a lot of things. And people, out of sight, out of mind. The fact of the matter is, whether we won this game or lost this game, he played well. His arm is his arm. Like, it's not getting any stronger. His size is his size. He's not getting any bigger, taller, stronger, any of that stuff. Okay? So we know what he is. He's 6 feet with an average NFL arm, and sometimes he lacks anticipation. And these are things that, if you're okay with it, fine. But you, at the quarterback position, you don't settle. You want the best you can possibly get at that position. He's not it. And that's why I've said this many a times. He's a high-level NFL backup. I want him here. But games like this quickly remind you that he is a backup. The sack that he took from Micah Parsons to force the fumble, you got a wide-ass open Ricky Seals-Jones in the flats. Will he pick up the first down? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Or what was that? Somebody sacked him. I don't remember who sacked him. Was he going to pick up the first? I don't know. But I sure like to find out. What I don't want you doing is backpedaling and taking a sack. That's what I don't want you to do. The boy Trucker 78. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, I appreciate you showing these Cowboys fans how to be a fan. Their D-line is good, but the offense is not anybody to be feared. We fought our asses off, and I knew we would fight. That I kept telling the mob, this will not end as a blowout. This will be respectable. When we look up at the scoreboard, somebody that didn't watch the game will go, oh man, that was a good game. No, it wasn't. But they won't know the difference, right? Because they'll look at the score. Oh man, Dallas just got away 27-20. If you were watching Jacksonville, Tennessee, and they zipped you over to our game, which they wouldn't do. That was an AFC game. So if you were watching, let's say, the New Orleans Saints and the New York Jets, and they zipped you over with 5 minutes to go, and you look up and you see, oh shit, it's 27-20. And Washington's got the ball. Oh man, this is a great game. You've been deceived. But you know what they did? The reason you were deceived is because we fought. We could have laid down like the Eagles did earlier this year when Dallas put up a 40 spot on their head and beat the brakes off of them on a Monday night. We could have done that in this game. We could have laid down and said, you got us. It's not our day. Terry McLaurin's injured. Our center just broke his ankle. Our quarterback just left the game. Our safety just got injured. Our left tackle got hurt. He's back. Our running back just fumbled for the 6th time this season. It's not our day. But we didn't do that. We fought. So I'm not shocked by that development. I'm disappointed that it took us until the 4th quarter to stop turning it over and start playing with any kind of enthusiasm and heart. But to your point, if the offense just, and I said this already, if the offense just punted today, didn't turn it over, we got a chance to win this game. I don't know if we win because the offense, our defense, while it was good, our offense was so bad, I don't know what happens. But the Cowboys, just like they did against the Saints, the Cowboys weren't good offensively versus the Saints. They had one big play, and their defense did the rest. That's what happened today. Their defense did all of the heavy lifting, and their offense just kind of stayed out of the way until Dak threw the pick 6. Their offense just stayed out of the way. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, freaking passed on trading up for Parsons and drafted Jamin Davis, bum ass, because of character concerns. What a garbage front office. We're not doing this today. We're not going to do the whole, because we don't know if they would have traded up for him or not. First of all, where Micah Parsons was drafted, you would have had to trade up with Philadelphia, the Giants, or Dallas to get him. Like, unless you were going into the top 10 to get him. And again, unless you're going up for a quarterback, I wasn't interested in trading up for anybody, honestly. You know, I wasn't looking to give up the kind of draft capital it was going to take to get up, unless you were going for a quarterback. Other than that, if Micah Parsons fell into your wheelhouse and you felt comfortable giving up, you know, what it was going to take to move up 4 or 5 spots, knock yourself out. But he had no business falling to Dallas, honestly. Again, the character concerns, we weren't the only team. This guy's a top 5 talent. Obviously, you can see that. Everyone knew that coming out of Penn State. Dude hadn't played since 2019, and it was still apparent that this dude's a freak. So it's not like the other 10 teams didn't see the talent. They saw the talent. They just said, you know what? We're going to pass. Well, Dallas said, you know what? We'll trade back and we'll take the best player on the board, and he was it. They got to steal. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Metaphor writes, COVID, not an issue until it is. Thanks, Sweat. I said it. I'm not talking about all this COVID shit that we had in the offseason. I don't care. You know why? Because until it's an issue, it's not an issue. Well, it's an issue now because Montez Sweat. And this is what happens when you give young guys. This isn't just NFL specific. It's not just Washington football team specific. When you give young guys more time than they're supposed to have, this is the shit that happens. And again, I don't know how he got COVID. Okay. I don't know if he was out partying. I don't know if he was out running the streets, if he was out living his best life, or if he just was around the wrong person that was out living their life and came around him and gave him COVID. Whatever the case may be, had he been around the team like he was supposed to, had he not been injured, he probably doesn't get COVID. I said the same thing. John Morant had the same issue. You know, he's injured right now. So what is he out doing? Living his best life instead of doing the things that he would have been doing had he been healthy. You give these young boys more time on their hands than they're supposed to have. These are the things that could happen. But forget about all of that. COVID is a thing. It exists. And it impacted our team today. But that, again, that's not the reason we lost this game. Okay. The defense was the last thing on the list of reasons why we lost this game. The very last thing. And that was with our 5th and 6th defensive ends as starters. Okay. So I don't really care to talk about COVID because it really was a non-factor. Could Montez Sweat have made an impact today? Sure. Sure he could have. Don't know if he would have or not, but had he played, maybe he makes an impactful play like Randy Gregory made. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the defense was good enough for us to win. So it is what it is. Benny Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Benny writes, Cowboys Nation here. Love your work, Louie. Y'all didn't give up and got to give kudos. Good luck the rest of the year. Likewise to you, Benny, man. I was so impressed with your defensive front. You know, I felt like if we could just protect up front, we could take advantage of your secondary. And we had opportunities. You know, DeAndre Carter runs right by Anthony Brown late in the game. Terry ran right by Trayvon Diggs, and Taylor Heineke just can't get it out there. I mean, yikes. I mean, he's got a full step and a half on Trayvon Diggs. If that ball's laid out there, I'm not saying it's a touchdown because the safety's coming over the top. He's not getting there in time to break it up. He's getting over there in time to knock Terry out of bounds after a 52-yard gain. But, you know, but that's what Heineke's been all year. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about it now. So there were opportunities, man, you know. But your defensive front, we had no answers. We could not block those guys. DeMarcus Lawrence seemed like he had a beat on the snap count. We couldn't block Micah Parsons. I mean, he beat our all-pro guard, Brandon Sheriff, on the 4th down. Just ran right by him. And Sheriff knew he was coming. Ran right by him. Antonio Gibson, a poor excuse for a block on Micah Parsons on the sack, forced fumble. Or I think that was Sheriff, actually, on that play. And then on the sack on the 3rd down that forced us to punt. Might have been a 4th down. I don't remember. There were so many damn sacks. There were so many, you know, pressures. I lose track now at this point. You know, as badly as we got beaten up, they sacked us 5 times. We sacked that 4 times. Like, it's not like, again, our defense played well enough for us to win, but their defense, they made home run plays. Our defense, we made triple plays, but they made home run plays. And that was the difference. The boy Trucker 78. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, benching Heineke would be the absolute worst thing to do this deep into the season. Doing that could inflict damage to the whole team energy. Our fans have to learn to be patient. They weren't going to bench him. That was just fans talking because they were upset and they wanted to see change. You know, Kyle Allen comes in, runs read option one time, gets 11 yards, and everybody's like, oh, put him in the game. It's better than what Heineke's doing. I'm like, yeah, okay. You go sit down and have a seat, okay, and have a cold beverage and relax, okay, because he's not going to do that all game long, okay? So, yeah, Heineke, he struggled today, you know. And I could understand why people wanted to make a change at certain points of this game, but this is when you find out what a guy has, because everything's not always going to go well. And what makes a guy a legendary quarterback isn't when things are going well or your team's up and you're making plays in comfortable situations. When things are uncomfortable, when you've thrown 3 interceptions, but yet somehow you look up and it's 17-13 and you got a chance at the ball late, can you make the plays necessary to give your team a chance despite having a stinky game? And I would have loved to have seen Heineke in late, but who knows? Allen made some throws on the drive when Dallas was pretty much saying, all right, we got this thing in the bag. And I don't know if Heineke makes those same throws or not. He was, his brain was racing. They had him seeing ghosts out there. So I don't know if he makes any plays or not, but Heineke may not be able to play. I mean, he hurt himself and he didn't return to the game, and he was grasping at his knee. So it may be Kyle Allen. And I talked about this. It was crazy because before the season started, I said, we've got the best depth of quarterback of any team in the league. Who's got 3? Like, again, none of our guys are elite, but who's got 3, average quarterbacks from 1 to 3 on their team? Nobody else can say that. After your starter, and you may have an elite starter, your backup is probably average at best. And then the next guy is absolutely ass. You don't want him in the game at all. Well, we've got above average, slightly above average in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think Heineke's slightly above average. And then Kyle Allen is average. So I don't know if anybody else has that. So what I'm saying is Kyle Allen will give us a chance if he has to play next week. I'm not as confident as I am in Taylor Heineke, but he'll give us a chance. Super chat here from Brandon Prater. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon Prater writes, no names, nation. How's that Dallas D? All this talking and we put you back where you belong. Basement. Sorry, Brandon. We're actually not in the basement. Technically, we're still in second place. So if you're going to talk trash, at least get your facts straight. Okay. And just a little side note, your offense isn't all that great. Okay. Our defense with our 5th and 6th, string defensive ends got 4 sacks, forced 2 turnovers, and kept us in a game that we should have lost 40-13. But never mind all of that. Your defense was good. I'm not going to sit here and act as if it wasn't, because your defense was dominant today, especially up front. We had no answers. They stuffed the run. They got after our quarterback. It is what it is. You guys earned this win because you dominated in the trenches, and that's what we had been doing. We did not do it in this game, and that's why we lost. F. Altus, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. F. Altus. Double up. Writes, Lou, bench Gibby. He's the most clutch fumbler in the league. Give Williams and Patterson's a shot and make Gibby earn it back. Also, Diami is washed. Again, man, some of you guys, I just don't know, man. Where the hell did you learn how to play football or understand how football works? Diami Brown is a rookie. I told you guys when we drafted him, okay? If you're looking for Diami to come in here and be an instant impact guy, you're sadly mistaken. Rookie receivers in this league usually take a while, okay? They're usually not instant impact guys. And if they are, they're usually first-round picks. Guys get drafted in the first round because you feel like they can come in and have an instant impact. Not everybody's Terry. Not everybody's going to come in year 1 and just hit the ground running. Diami Brown was a one-trick pony at North Carolina, and I told you guys it was going to take some time for him to learn how to be a route runner, and he'll be just fine. He's washed? Okay, I'm done talking to you about that. Anybody wants to come at me about Jamin Davis or Diami Brown or any of these young guys in their first year, I don't have any words for you. I'm not wasting my breath. As far as Gibson is concerned, I don't wholeheartedly disagree with him needing to earn it back, but I'm not in the camp, in the mindset of, oh, we got to sit him down and we got to play Patterson and Williams or McKissick when he comes back. I'm good on that. Okay. Gibson is the most talented running back we have, and he's got to understand that he's got to hold on to the football. And so if him sitting down for, some of the game, him not getting as many touches as he normally would, him saying, 30, let's say 30 touches a game is what he was averaging these last, 3 or 4 weeks. If that's reduced to 15, I don't have a problem with that. If they say, JD, you normally get 13 touches, well, you're going to get 22. I wouldn't advise them to do that because, JD McKissic isn't that big, burly, thick back. But if they wanted to increase JD from, 13 touches to 19 and Patterson from 2 or 3 to 7, 8, 9, go right ahead. Knock yourself out. He's got to understand that the value of possession of the football is greater than anything else. And you heard what Greg Olsen says that they tell running backs the order of importance of their job. 1, you got to be able to protect the quarterback. 2, you got to be able to protect the ball. 3, then we feed you the rock. Well, he failed on protecting the quarterback on the sack that he gave up to Micah Parsons, and then he fumbled the football. So it was an all-around horrific day. And I thought Gibby, he ran timid early in the game. He was falling down. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of space, but we've seen Gibson be physical and run through arm tackles. He was tripping over his own feet. He was falling down. He didn't look like the physical, aggressive Gibby that we had seen during his 4-game winning streak. So that was disappointing as well. King Ken GT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King Ken GT says, Diggs dropped a pick, Brown dropped it twice, and Micah Parsons dropped one. Cowboys could have made it worse. They could have. I thought, Brown that was a punt. So if you want to count that one, knock yourself out. He had another opportunity. That was a tough one. That was a great play by Brown because he was actually throwing to the receiver behind who Brown was covering, and he leaped up, made a play on the ball. He should have picked that off. The one over the middle, that one could have been picked off. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like Heineke couldn't have thrown, 5 or 6. He definitely could have thrown 5 or 6. Dak could have thrown 4 or 5 his damn self. This was not a clean game by either team's offense. Make no mistake about it. As I mentioned already, this game was won by defense, and your defense was better than our defense. Our defense was good. Your defense was great, and that was the difference in the game. Both of these teams' offenses were not sharp in this game. And I thought the officials tilted it in the favor of Dallas. I mean, that pass interference, that kept a drive alive. That led to Cowboys points. You can't make that call. Then we make mistakes to compound matters. You can't jump off sides on 3rd and 10, and you're getting off the field. You can't do that. And then I thought it was genius by the Cowboys to quick snap because Cole Holcomb and Cam Curl are trying to communicate inside on how they're going to play Amari Cooper. They snap the ball, and nobody covers Cooper, and it's a touchdown. That was a great job of catching us and trying to communicate and not being ready. So at the end of the day, the Cowboys made more plays than us. That's the bottom line. Both offenses were sloppy and horrid. Ours was horrid. Yours wasn't horrid. It just wasn't all that great. It's not as advertised. So I was just disappointed in the fact that if we just stayed out of the way offensively, we might have a shot. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, Lou, thank you for the tickets. It was an amazing view, and I enjoyed the game, even if we did lose. I like how we played. I just don't like the injuries. We can't afford to lose McLaurin. And that's, had we lost this game 33-13, which it seemed like it was heading for about 3 quarters, and then you look up and you lose McLaurin and you lose Tyler Larson and you lose Bobby McCain and you lose Charles Leno and you lose, Taylor Heineke and all the guys that got injured in this game. You look up and you see the laundry list of injuries we're leaving this game with, and you get your ass kicked. It feels a lot worse. You look at it's 27-20, and you're like, man, we fought. We had the ball with a chance to tie, and we didn't get it done. Those injuries still exist, but it makes you feel a little bit better. But, I mean, I said this at the top of the show. At some point, you run out of bodies that give you a chance. Like, you can't just put dudes on the field and say, next man up. That only works when the depth behind the guy that's out of the lineup is any good. At some point, you start running into dudes that have no business being on the field. We're at that point at a couple of positions. It's getting scary. So I'm getting nervous now because we can sit here and talk about depth, which our depth has been tested and we've passed with flying colors. But at this point now, it's starting to become a problem. And now you're like, you can't keep talking about next man up. And the next man up is Keith Ishmael. And the next man up after him, and we're hoping to get Wes Schweitzer back next week, but you never know. Wes could miss one more game. You know, who's after Keith Ishmael? I don't know. This is the problem. John Toth? Is John Toth going to have to play a snap for us? That's scary. We're running out of bodies. Can I say this? I'm going to get on my soapbox real quick. Why is Curtis Samuel here? Why is he here? If we're not going to use him, why is he here? That's on Scott Turner. That's on the coaching staff for not doing a better job of getting a playmaker involved. But why is he? If we're not going to get 10 involved, why is he here? I don't want to hear about the groin or anything. If he's on the field and he's healthy enough to play, why isn't he touching the ball? I don't think he had a touch today. Why is he here if you're not going to use him? Okay, I'm done. The Great Watubi. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. Lou, he said, a lot of Philadelphia trolls here. Did we play the Eagles today? I must have missed it. He says 2 of their wins are the Lions and Jets, and they have a crappy running back as their QB. Look, this is what the Eagles fans do. You don't let them get to you. This is what they do. We talked about this already. These are the same dudes. I guarantee you, these are the same dudes that came in here when they beat the Falcons 32-6. And then when I said, try that shit next week against San Francisco, and they scored a whole entire 11 points, that's the same crew that didn't come back for a month and a half. Same dudes. Trust me. Don't worry. Chilled Dude. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, we are eating cold crow, Louie, but we got the birds next. Let's keep eating. We're the 7th seed because of conference record. Dallas fans should be worried about, I'm not worried about Dallas. Okay. I'm not worried about them until next week. Okay. Or the week after next, excuse me. We got the Eagles next. So we'll talk about Dallas when it's Dallas week again in a week from now. This time next Sunday, Dallas will be the next opponent. Then we can talk about Dallas. Well, their offense is their offense. That's their problem. That's not our problem. The problem with what is happening to us is that we're getting injured at the wrong time of the season. This is when you're supposed to be getting healthy. You see Dallas? They're getting healthy at the right time of the season. We're getting injured at the wrong time of the season. You don't win in this league losing guys in December. You win by getting guys back in December. We get Logan Thomas back. He's injured again, done for the season. Okay. We get Tyler Larson back. He's done for the season again. And Terry's out now. This is an offense that already doesn't have explosiveness. Well, Terry's gone. He's not coming back next week. I can assure you that. All right. We are in trouble. All of a sudden now, the Eagles, that's a game that I didn't even bat an eye. We're going to beat the Eagles. If the defense plays the way they've been playing, we should be able to neutralize their offense and give ourselves a chance. But their defense in Philadelphia, it's not great. It's not Dallas's defense. That's for damn sure. But who the hell are we going to put on the field? What if Charles Leno can't go with a back injury next week? What happens if, Keith Ishmael has something happen to him? We are in a really tough spot. We'll see what happens. Johnson I. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, where the hell is Curtis Samuel? And WJ3 equals trash. I don't subscribe to the latter half of that comment. I didn't think he did anything wrong today. But what did the Cowboys do to William Jackson III to make you say he's trash? Again, that pass interference penalty might have been the worst call that went against us this season. And we've had a ton of them. I mean, the Chase Young pushing of Matt Ryan comes to mind at the top of the list of really bogus calls that went against us. I can't think of one that was worse than the pass interference. And Michael Gallup has the nerve to get up like, oh, yeah, pass. No, that wasn't pass interference. That was good defense. Trayvon Diggs on Terry McLaurin down the field was more pass interference than that was. So I don't know where you get that from. Now, as far as Curtis Samuel, I just asked the same question. I literally just asked the same question. Got on my soapbox for a second and said, Why is he here? If we're not going to use 10, why is he even active? Why? I mean, the man literally played today, and for all I know, he could have re-aggravated something and didn't play the second half. I wouldn't have noticed because he doesn't touch the ball. So I wouldn't be able to tell you even if he did leave the game. You know why? Because I don't even know when he's in the game because we never get it to him. Scott Yak, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Scott writes, love your passion, Lou. Came here after I saw you on Laws Live. Had to. Dallas defense really showed up this game. Offense was suspect, but we needed the dub, and you got it. The offense, again, it was good enough to get you by today. I mean, it almost cost you late. This game had no business being 27-20, right? Like, Dak doesn't throw that pick six. You're probably going to win this game 20. It was 27-14. You probably win this game 27-14. Let's call it a spade. Let's keep it a buck and some change. All right, let's call a spade a spade. We're not scoring again. You know, if you just punt right there, we're not scoring again. But that said, your defense was the difference in the game. Like, literally, we couldn't do anything. At one point, it crossed my mind, even though I kept telling the mob, we're going to make this thing interesting. Like, this isn't going to end in a blowout. Like, Ron Rivera doesn't get blown out in November and December. We're going to make this interesting. It crossed my mind, like midway through the third, we might get shut out in this game. Like, it really did legitimately cross my mind. It was a fleeting thought. I was like, no way. We're going to get something. Like, even if it's a garbage time touchdown, we'll get something. And then we get the big play. But it crossed my mind for a second. We might get shut out of this game. Like, you guys were that dominant defensively. So, hats off to your defense. I mean, they were the difference in this game, without a doubt. Got another super chat here. Let's see if I can find it. Got a super chat here from Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we have O-line depth, but we need more O-line talent. We lost early because we couldn't run the football. I think they really love Charles Leno Jr. at left tackle. I think he's a serviceable left tackle. Like, you can get by with him. Same thing with Cornelius Lucas at right tackle. Like, you can get by with Cornelius Lucas, but they're not difference makers out there. You know, I would like to invest. Like, Sam Cosmi is, I think, the future at right tackle. I don't know if he's a left tackle in this league or not. I need him to stay healthy first and foremost, but you can't do anything about injuries, right? So, thanks. It's so frustrating when you have the kind of players that we have and we have the kind of success we have. It leads to me, a false sense of we're good on the offensive line. Like, I think they want to re-sign Charles Leno Jr. I think that would be a mistake. Unless you're getting him on another 1 year, $7 million deal like they did this past year. I think it's like 1 year, $5 million or whatever. Unless you're going to get him on another one of those, I would prefer that you drafted a tackle, and it could be like another guy in the second round like they did with Sam Cosmi. But I think you can do better. I think we've settled on the offensive line. Like, Eric Flowers is cool. I don't think he's like dominant, right? We're really missing our center, Chase Rouillet. One of those dudes that I think a lot of people take for granted because he's always there. But now you're seeing, like, Tyler Larson got blown up on the play that he broke his ankle. He got steamrolled. We saw Wes Schweitzer against the Broncos get steamrolled. That never happens to Chase Rouillet. So, yeah, we're our O-line has depth. But I don't know if we have – I told you, we don't have dogs up front. I've said that for a long time. We don't have dogs. We've got, really quality, serviceable offensive linemen. But in order to be dominant in the run game like a lot of you want to be, you got to have, better guys up front. And I just think we're okay. I don't think we're great. So, let's see. We got another super chat. And I thought not being able to run the football definitely hurt us today, for sure. Got another super chat. This one is from Ishmael Benitez. Thank you for the super chat, Ishmael Benitez. Greatly appreciate you. Ishmael writes, lost for words, Lou. This is what happens when you, he said, when we think we are on track. By the way, I think they squeezed everything out of the white on whites. I didn't have a problem with them wearing it today. I thought they should have went Berg on Berg, personally. But I'm always a proponent of forcing Dallas to wear their navies. They hate wearing them. So I didn't have a problem with them wearing the navies today. But I thought they should have went Berg on Berg. I too thought that they're overdoing it with the white on whites. But that's nor here nor there. You know, I won't say that, you know, this is what happens when we think we're on track, because we got a lot of injuries, man. And I told you, I don't like to make excuses, but you know, we were banged up. We got dominated up front. We still fought. And I think this is another indication that the culture is changing, but we still need more talent. And it's game. I told you, to me, it's not close. The Cowboys are the most talented team in the division. I say this every year after the draft. The Cowboys draft really well. And when you do that year after year after year, you end up with the most talent in the division. And we were coming from all the way at the bottom. You know, I thought we were the least talented team just 2 years ago. And we've made leaps and bounds, you know, improvements to get where we are, where I think we're personally the second most talented team. But it's still a sizable gap between Dallas when they're fully healthy and us when we're fully healthy. And we need to continue to close that gap. And so I think when you draft better, you sign better players, and you get that cohesiveness, that's when you're able to start to see some of these games like this that are important, where you're playing, you know, meaningful football in December. That's when you start to see this, you know, situations like this kind of pay off. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not tripping about it. It's one loss, and I'm more concerned with the injuries personally. So we'll see what happens. The great Watubi, thank you for the super chat. Had a little, let me get my nose together here. The great Watubi, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, no super chats from Philly fans, because if I was them, I would save my money to move on from that crappy excuse for a city. And look, you don't have to get in a war of words with Philadelphia Eagles fans. They got the same record as us now. Okay. We've played the much tougher schedule, and we'll see what happens next week. If they beat us, they beat us. If they don't, they don't. Again, we got so many things to sort out from an injury perspective. I can't even say who we're going to have starting at quarterback next week. I know we're not going to have our best receiver to go up against Darius Slay. So I don't even know. We don't have our best tight end. We don't have our best receiver. We may not have our starting quarterback. I don't even know who we're putting on the field next week against the Eagles. So we'll see what the hell happens, man. I would just tell you to save your breath. That's what I would tell you. The BHHD Washington Report, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, people are going to say Dak is 8-1 versus us, but he didn't even play well. This loss wasn't that discouraging. I think we can spin back and win in 2 weeks. Again, you don't even know what this team's going to look like next week, let alone in 2 weeks. He's 8-1. He started this game. I'm not making any excuses. No, he didn't play well, but he won. Okay, he's 8-1. Call it what it is. I'm not going to sit here. Oh, he doesn't get a win because he didn't play well. No. He was the quarterback, the starting quarterback of the team that won this game, which makes him 8-1 against us. He's played well against us. He's won ball games against us, and he did it again today. Again, he wasn't the reason they won. They probably won in spite of him, but he started and he won. so he gets credit for it. I'm not going to sit here and play that game. Yeah, he's 8-1 against us. And until we change that, they're going to continue to say that. And if he beats us in 2 weeks, he'll be 9-1. And they'll continue to parade that around. And there's nothing we can say because he continues to beat us. You want to change the narrative. That was everything I said on Friday was surrounding changing the narrative. Okay, we haven't beaten the Cowboys 3 straight times since 1988. That shit is sickening to even say out of my goddamn mouth. But here we are, talking about another opportunity to beat them and letting them come into our house, score 18 points in the first quarter, and essentially take any win that we had in our sails out for the remainder of the game, essentially. At some point, you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. The BHHD Washington Report. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Says, wish we had Terry on that pass Carter dropped. I mean, you got to play with who you got. Wish, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But he wasn't on the field. And DeAndre Carter had been clutch for us all season long. It was not a great game for DeAndre Carter. Not on special teams, not on offense. And so, it is what it is. And, I said this earlier in the season, but when DeAndre Carter became a bigger part of the offense, we saw this with Randall L. in his career. When a guy is making his name on special teams and he's dominant in that facet of the game, and then he gets a bigger role on offense, you start to not want to do the special teams thing anymore. You're not as likely or gung-ho to try and make a play on special teams. I thought Carter could have returned 3 or 4 kickoffs. I thought Carter could have went and fielded 2 or 3 punts. And he just decided, nah, I'm good. They need me on offense. It just wasn't, all around, it wasn't a great game for him. And he should have caught the ball. And we've seen him make great catches before. So he just didn't catch it. It wasn't our day. That's plays like that are indication it's just not your day. Deal with it. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. All right. So we definitely need to use Curtis Samuel. Guess you really can't trust a man with 2 first names. I've always said that. He says, also thank you to Trevor Patch as well. Big shout out to Trevor Patch for the tickets. And obviously he's not here in the comment section, but Trev, we know you watching somewhere, man. Appreciate you once again. Spock, can you save me? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, how do you like Parsons, NFL Defensive Player of the Year? He's in the mix, but again, they're not giving it to a rookie when they can just give him Defensive Rookie of the Year. You got Myles Garrett with like 16 sacks. You got TJ Watt with 15 sacks. They're not giving it to Michael Parsons as well as he's playing, and he's playing phenomenal football. He doesn't deserve it over those 2 guys alone. And TJ Watt has missed 2.5, 3 games this season, and he's got 15, 16 sacks. Myles Garrett scooped up a fumble today and scored a touchdown. He's also got 15, 16 sacks. Like, no, he's not winning Defensive Player of the Year, but what he will win is Defensive Rookie of the Year. That is for certain. Spock, can you save me? Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up rights. I thought Heineke was some kind of stud. I don't know who told you that. You're wrong. Heineke is a serviceable NFL quarterback that, if things go well, can really do some really good things. I would have loved to have seen Heineke. You would have found out how good Heineke was at the end of the game had he been in for that final possession, because as bad as he had played all game long, you put him in that situation with the game on the line, I guarantee you we at least get within striking distance. Might not have scored, but those are the kind of situations he lives for. But he was not great in this game. And, we can sit here and bash Taylor Heineke, but the offensive line was trash. He was under siege today. And, when a guy gets hit that early in the game and that often, yeah, he's going to start seeing ghosts. He's going to start being fidgety back there. We saw Heineke getting fidgety back there. You're damn right. I would be fidgety too. After I get my brains bashed in a couple of times and get slammed down on the turf, Yeah, I'd be looking around to see where 11 or 90 or 94 or one of these dudes, I'm going to be looking around to see where the hell the next hit's coming from. I don't blame him. Chef Mac, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chef Mac writes, send the link to Law Nation. Already did that. Haven't heard from him. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor, who writes, sorry, Lou, any chance I can borrow some clothes? No, sir. I told you not to give all of your blacks away to the Salvation Army. I said, hey, at some point, we are not winning the rest of our games. You are going to need those blacks. Do not give them away. You didn't listen to me, though. So you find yourself in a position where you have nothing to wear, you'll be fine. Hopefully, it's a 1-week hiatus, and we'll be back to wearing the white like we are supposed to be wearing. But anyway, I digress. Let's see. Next comment is from Zacchaeus Maggette III. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zacchaeus Maggette III writes, you might bash me for this, but I'm done with Gibson. One fumble too many. I'm not going to bash you for it. I'm just going to dismiss you. That's what I do to comments that I think are dismissible. And that's a dismissible comment. The guys fumble. Certain guys have issues. Tiki Barber had a fumbling issue. The Giants didn't just give up on him. Why? Because he was too talented. You don't just give up on talented running backs because they have a fumbling issue. You try to help them sort that out. Now, if it continues, then you got to move on. You got to go in a different direction. But when a guy has talent like Antonio Gibson has, you got to keep working with that dude. You got to work through this problem because you know that this guy is capable of doing things that other guys aren't capable of doing. So, yeah, no. There is no doubt in my mind that they're frustrated with him, but they're also going to continue to work with him because they know he's the best they've got. I didn't realize he was 5th in the league in rushing. That I didn't know. Jeremiah Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jeremiah Butler writes, I am here after that legendary Super Friends stream. Thought you were going to postpone this stream after the spicy talk you talk. LOL. Fly, Eagles, fly. I don't ever back down. I already told y'all. You know where you're going to find me. Win, lose, or draw. You know where you're going to find me. I will talk all the trash in the world, but I'm going to be here, regardless. And I'm going to keep it a buck. If we win, yeah, you're going to hear my mouth. If we lose, I'll be the first to tell you why we lost and give credit where credit is due. So I talk spicy all the time. Spicy. Talk spicy all the time. A little spicier this past week than normal because we were on a 4-game heater and I was feeling good about where we were. But it didn't work out for us. But it is what it is. I'll never back down, and you'll never catch me running. That's not in my DNA. Big Brother Almighty, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Brandon Hayes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Brandon Hayes writes, is Turner creative when it comes to the other players, i.e. Curtis, Brown, etc.? It seems like once you take his first option away, he's done. I don't know if that's a Scott Turner thing as much as it is a Taylor Heineke thing. So for me, I would love it if he made a conscious effort to get De'Ami Brown a touch and not just on a deep ball, not just on a go ball. You don't think other teams know number 2 can run deep? Like that's the only thing he's good for? I'd like to see them do different things with Curtis Samuel. You see Dallas using CeeDee Lamb in the backfield? Like, I'm tired of Curtis Samuel being a decoy. Actually let him touch it. Like, we didn't sign Curtis Samuel to a 3-year, $36 million deal, or 39 or whatever it is, for him to be a decoy in the backfield. for him to go in ghost motion. We didn't draft De'Ami Brown in the 3rd round or DeAndre Carter, sign him as a free, for him to keep going in ghost motion and them not touch it. So that's the part that's frustrating for me is, at some point you got to get these other guys involved. All right.
What's good, man? All right.
Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just Andre, right? I don't think our playoff chances are over, but what I saw / learned, we still need more dogs, etc. At linebacker, at offensive line, cornerback, free safety, and this we still need a quarterback. I told you this roster isn't complete. Like, we're far from a finished product as an entire team. For where we are in year 2 of Ron's plan and what we've built to this point, we're in a good spot. I think right now our biggest problem, right? If you want me to keep it funky with y'all for a second, our biggest problem is that we have more depth than we do talent. And so at some point, your talent needs to surpass the amount of depth you have. And Ron, one of the first things he did, if you remember when Ron first got here, one of the first things Ron did was he went out, he purged the roster, got rid of guys that didn't want to be here, and then he brought in a bunch of depth guys. John Bostic brought him back. J.D. McKissick, Logan Thomas. What was the linebacker last year that came here with 3 names? I can't think of his name. And, Cornelius Lucas, and the list goes on and on. We filled this roster with depth because that was something that was a problem. And this year, we added some guys that were supposed to add more substance, and William Jackson III and Curtis Samuel. And then you get another draft under your belt. So they're trying to get more talent. But right now, the depth is outpacing our talent. And until our talent surpasses our depth, we're going to run into these issues. So I still think we need more difference makers, And Curtis Samuel may be that, but we haven't seen it yet here in Washington. So that's one of the biggest problems. De'Ami Brown may turn out to be a difference maker. But until he is someone that we can rely on and get the football to, that's a problem. So that's where we are right now.
No doubt. No doubt. You can hear me, man?
We need to upgrade the quarterback position. True Mari Cooper.
I don't think you can hear me.
Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. True Mari Cooper writes, "Hey, Lou, amazing content as always. Couldn't watch the entire game, but how was Landon Collins looking this week? Saw his stat line, and he seemed like he was getting in it. He had a pick, early in the game when we still had hope, when we still thought this was going to be a knockdown, drag out, slobber knocker, tit for tat. They make a mistake. We make a mistake. Landon Collins made a play early in this game. Landon Collins was down around the line of scrimmage. But, again, the defense wasn't the problem. The defense wasn't the issue. The issue was the offense. And I can't stress that enough. So Landon Collins was fine. It was good to have him back out there. So I got Law in here, but I don't hear anything from Law.
Can you hear me at all? Mic check.
Hold on 1 second. Let's see if. Say something.
Yeah, what's good, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right.
Cool. Loud and clear.
All right, cool. We building the plane while it's in the air, man.
All right, man. So this guy needs no introduction, okay? But I'm going to introduce him anyway. Of course, it's our friend, our super friend from across the way, Law Nation. My guy Law from Law Nation is joining the show. And I got to say, your defensive line was problematic today. And what did I tell you on Wednesday night? I said, if this game gets away from us, it'll be because of what?
That front.
And that's exactly what happened today. It was the one thing I was fearful of going into the game, and they stepped up. What was your analysis and your biggest takeaway from this game?
Well, at first I wanted to gloat. At first I wanted to bang on my chest and just tell all of the Washington football team, you like that? You know what I'm saying? Who's your daddy and all of that? But you guys did show a level of resiliency. Your team battled back at the end. My quarterback seems as if though something is wrong with him, but I'm not finna just put it all on him because the front five, of course, giving up 4 sacks and then the pressure that you guys were able to do with the limited amount of people that was on the field, it gave us a situation to pause the call to say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? But outside of that, a win is a win is a win. And by the Cowboys being 9-4 right now, we are heading in the right direction, especially with 4 more games to go. We got that playoffs in our mind, but we just got to fix a few things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always said I'm not giving them back. You know what I mean? You get a dub any way you can. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to be gritty and most importantly, a dub. And that's what you guys were able to do today is get the win. I thought that had our offense just not turned it over, had they just punted, had every possession, and this is what you're told as a youngin coming up in the game, every possession needs to end in a kick. Some way, shape, form, or fashion, it should end in a kick. Whether it's a punt, a field goal, an extra point, it should be ending in a kick. And if every possession for us just ended in a kick today, it's a different game. Now, I don't know if we win that game, but 17 of your 27 points, and I may be missing a point or two, maybe 18 of your points came off of turnovers. Like everything that you generated today as an offense came because of your defense. So I just felt like, and I was expecting your offense to be more impactful than it was. I was actually shocked that our defense, you know, with some of the limited resources that we had, they were able to keep us in this game. And you called me at halftime.
I did.
You called me at halftime, and I reluctantly picked up the phone, right? So, and you said, "Hey, what you got going on over there, man?" I said, "You know what? My twin has me smiling over here. I'm changing my daughter's diaper, and that's why I'm smiling right now."
Right.
But before I got off the phone, I said, "Hey, I watched the Steelers come back on Thursday night down 29-0. Right. And I watched Dallas come back from a 35-7 deficit to beat Washington 41-35 back in 1999 in overtime." I said, stranger things have happened. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's what I'm telling everybody. At any point late in that game, were you nervous?
I would say after the Holcomb, that doggone pick 6, man. I said, Lord, it reminded me of a good old guy by the name of Tony Romo game. You remember, I know you got a good football recall, and you remember that he was trying to throw the ball to Miles Austin. I think it was a win or go home game.
Yep.
And it was
picked off by Rob Jackson.
Yeah. And then we were like, Lord. And then it was another pick 6. It was a pick 6 by he was trying to throw the ball to the flats to DeMarco Murray. You remember that game?
Yep.
And that was the vibe that I was feeling like, here come the Washington team about to make me feel miserable because I was talking cash money in that game. And now I had to sit back and watch Dak Prescott, my quarterback, that everybody, even if we win, they're going to talk about him. When we lose, they talk about him. I said, man, this guy, Louie Tee finna look like a genius. He looked like he's finna walk on water now. But, man, our defense once again prevailed.
Yeah,
now,
it did.
From your eyes, did you see that fumble at the end? Or was it you saying that it was
I thought his arm went forward, man. I really didn't think that was a fumble, but this was the thing. They called it a fumble on the field. Once they called it a fumble on the field, I knew they weren't going to overturn it.
Yeah.
How did you think? Let me ask you this from a Cowboys fan perspective. What did you think of the officiating? I thought it was awful today.
I mean,
okay. Let me give you some. Let me give you some specific.
Give me some specific.
And then you can tell me what you thought. The pass interference that they called on William Jackson III on Michael Gallup down the right sideline that kept a drive alive. It was 3rd down. Dak took a shot down the field. I thought it was beautiful coverage, and they called pass interference. Gallup didn't make the play. What did you think about that?
Now, let me look at it within the confines of playing DB. At the top of the route, you can get physical. You can get aggressive at the top of the route. But also they got this thing called impeding a route. Now, did your boy slap his arm down at the top of that route to impede him from the process of catching the ball? Now, if they called it throughout the entire game, it's okay, right? But at this point, I'm looking at it like Gallup. He normally don't get that call. I'm sitting here saying, "Oh my goodness, let's keep the ball," because at that time, we really needed that big play. But yeah, I would like for the aficionados to be out of it completely, but they called it. Now, I think that even on that touchdown play that you guys got with the elbow in with number 11, who mossed it over our guy, number 7, I think that they forgot to call that hands to the face to one of your
that
guys.
was egregious hands to the face
Right.
on Eric Flowers on Michael Parsons. That was the one call we got in our favor. They owed us that, if nothing else. We should have got 2 or 3 more calls. That was the least they could do.
So that's why I said I would rather for the aficionados to let these boys play the game, regardless. I don't want them to be part. I don't want them to dictate the game. I want them to play the game, but not dictate the game. But I feel you what you're saying. So I'm thinking that you're leaning more on the side that he didn't PI them.
Oh, it was definitely not pass interference. I felt like Trayvon Diggs, what he did to Terry McLaurin on the deep ball, where he got his head around late, but that was more pass interference than what William Jackson III did. So, I mean, I thought the officials were spotty at best. They were awful in this game, to be honest with you. They were all over the place. I thought they were way too involved. There was another call that they made. I can't quite remember what it was, but it was an awful call that gave you guys a fresh set of downs. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And there was another one where they called it against us, and it was ticky-tack. Even Greg Olsen was like, come on. It was the push-off on our tight end. Are you serious? Are you serious? You're going to call that? That's awful. Yeah. That's an awful call. So I thought they were way too involved in this game. And then I hate when they take the coward way out when 2 guys are getting into it. You know, you don't call it on both guys. You call it on who is the culprit? Who's the guy? When La'el Collins got thrown out of the game, that was the right call, right? But there were other opportunities for them to get the right guy, and they want to just call it on both teams. No doubt. That's trash. Get the right guy. They got La'el Collins there, and it was a clean play. You know, your quarterback was still in bounds when he got pushed. And so I thought they got that one right, but I thought they were way too involved in this game. But again, that's not why we lost the game. Y'all beat us up at the point of attack, and that's what we thought we were going to be able to do. And you guys, you were the aggressors. You were more physical than us. You, to me, took the fight to us early, and
at your stadium. At your stadium.
Well, you guys turned that into a home game. It was more Cowboys fans there than there were Washington fans. And so you guys made yourself comfortable. You bought your benches and you bought your fans, and you made yourself right at home like you always do, man. So that's not something that surprises me. What was surprising was 18 points in the first quarter. That was surprising because after the interception, that we got on Dak Prescott, I didn't see that. And, that was, in the course of the game, when things happen, you can look back and say, man, what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, oh, what a wonderful world it would be.
Right.
But if Randy Gregory doesn't tip that pass, it's a touchdown. I don't know if you got to see that.
No, I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Y'all came with zero blitz there. If he doesn't tip that, there's nobody in the secondary, and we got a blocker out in front, and both of our guys are on the defensive backs, and we got an offensive lineman going up the field. Oh, that's a house call. That's a residential call right there. And unfortunately, Randy Gregory makes an outstanding play. You know what I mean? Trayvon Diggs gets beat on the deep ball, and our quarterback, he's got a pop gun arm, man. Leaves that thing up there.
Now, do you like Allen now, or Allen is not the quarterback, the one that came in? Because I was sitting there like, man, can I order some more Heinekes? You know what I'm saying? Instead of that Allen, because I said, man, that Allen is lighting us up. Can I get some Heinekes? Can I reorder some Heinekes?
I'm gonna tell you what. He was playing in a manner that would force you to be like, hey, hey, 2 more Heinekens. Around the table, everybody gets one, right? However, Allen is always prone to doing what he did at the end, right? Every time he's in that situation with the game on the line, we had a similar situation against the Giants, moving the ball, going down the field, trying to get the game-winning score. He fumbles. The Giants win the game. Did the same thing here. And he is the kind of guy, the play before, he throws a dime to DeAndre Carter, beats Anthony Brown down the sidelines, and he drops it.
Yeah.
And then the next play, he fumbles. So, like, he giveth, he taketh away. even if they called that an incomplete pass, he would have done something stupid later in the drive. I feel like you guys would have ultimately won because he would have did something stupid. He would have thrown a pick. He would have fumbled. Something stupid would have happened because that's what always happens with him. Had Heineke still been in the game, this game's going to overtime, or we win, or y'all win in regulation on a late field goal. But he would have went down the field and tied it up. You didn't want to see him.
Okay, we didn't want to see the Heinekes.
Nah, you didn't want to see him in that situation. All game long, he had been terrible. But if you would have put him on the field down 7
over here. I got some questions over for my guys, man, before we depart, man. But they said, did Trayvon Diggs shut down McLaurin? You know, they said Trayvon Diggs shut him down. What happened?
Yeah, now, and I just told you what happened. And this has been the story of Terry McLaurin's career, right? You know, if he had better quarterbacking, this dude would be a 1,200-yard receiver every year. Again, Trayvon Diggs got smoked down the sidelines. This is easily a 50-yard catch down the sidelines. And what happens? It's underthrown. Gives Trayvon Diggs a chance to get back into the play. Trayvon Diggs was beat by 1.5 yards on the play. Not like he was right there. He was beat by 1.5 yards. Terry has to stop. And if he's a better receiver mentally, Terry is. All he needs to do is just jump back into Trayvon Diggs or just stop. Let him run into him. And he would have got the PI call. But he tries to make this ridiculous catch over the top of him. But he shouldn't have had to been put in that position because he was beat already. You know what I'm saying? So there were opportunities for Terry to get the football down the field. He almost made that big catch down there when he fell. Terry would have gotten his had he had more opportunities. And again, this is where game planning comes into play. You know, your best receivers, I don't give a shit who's covering them.
Right.
You get them the football, right? Like CeeDee Lamb. I always like to joke about CeeDee Lamb because when we play him, he drops the ball. Like the first time you threw it to him in the game, what do he do? Drop it. That's what he does against us. All right. Last year, he had like 5 drops against us. That's what CeeDee Lamb does against us. But you know what y'all did? Okay, CeeDee may not be catching the football, but we're going to throw him this wide receiver screen. We're going to get it to him on this toss out of the backfield. Like, we're going to get CeeDee Lamb involved somehow.
Yeah, because he had 7 receptions for 61 yards, and then he had this rushing play, 2 for 15 yards rushing. On rushing.
We're going to get him to rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got Heineke. Let me just put it out here. He was 11 for 25 for 122 yards, and he had 4 sacks. He got sacked 4 times in his average pass distance. I thought that Dak Prescott had a horrible one, right? Dak Prescott average throw was like 5.2 yards. Guess what Heineke average throw was?
I don't even want to guess.
It's 4.9. Yeah. So basically, he's throwing it at the feet of his receivers. And, of course, that one big play to Sims, I was like, damn, that was a damn good throw. That was right on the button. That's right on the money, man.
And shit, he had to run for his life on that one, too. So
Right.
He was under siege the entire day, man.
But I ain't gonna hold your channel up, man. We see y'all in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
I don't know who you going to see. Because y'all beat us up pretty good, man. I mean, you took out half our squad tonight. So the loss is one thing, but to lose half your team, that's a whole totally different thing to discuss and a whole nother animal that we're gonna have to tackle. And so this one loss might turn into 2 if we're not careful because of all the bodies that dropped in this game. So
But you know your boy Lord Bronson been talking some noise, and he hit me up too. So you're gonna have to face him.
Yeah.
He gonna want to talk to you. But if something changed before that time frame, let's do this. This is the tail end, it's divisional runoff or what have you. If your team is still in the thick of it, let's do a show on that Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. You know, if you got time.
When?
Sometime midday that week before the game.
Which one?
Your game. The week that you play us.
Oh, next week in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay,
let's do a joint show.
Yeah,
just us two. Just us two. We don't have to bring in the full round table.
Okay. Yeah, just hit me up.
I will do, man. Appreciate you. Congratulations on your little ones as well, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And
salute,
thank you for blessing the program, man.
Anytime, man.
Law out, guys. That's my guy. Law Nation. Always holding it down and one of the super friends, as you know, in the NFC East. Spock, can you save me? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Spock writes, I thought Washington was pissed about McCarthy's so-called guarantee. We were. But you know what Ron said? It was mental warfare. He was trying to play mind games, and I felt like it worked, offensively at least. I felt like they pressed. They were trying to do too much offensively. And, at the end of the day, everything gets settled in between the white lines. The whole extracurricular activity about what McCarthy said, I was livid. I know the players were livid, and had we won, it would have blown up in his face, and I wanted it to. The thing that probably sucks the most about this loss is that the Hamburglar was right, and I didn't want him to be right, but he was right. His team was better. They were superior. They got the win, and I didn't want him to be right. I can't stand Mike McCarthy. He's not a good head coach. So that's the part that really upsets me the most, is that he was right. Not that we lost the game. Yeah, we lost. It sucks. Dak's 8-1, all that. We're going to continue to hear that. That doesn't bother me. I don't like Mike McCarthy, and he stinks as a head coach, and we let him be right in this situation. That sucks. That's what really, more than anything else. The loss, the injuries, all that stuff, I'm pissed about all of it. The fact that he was right, that he gets to feel good about himself, that pisses me off. Tony P56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Tony P56. Right. Slow start bit us in the ass. Needed one touchdown in the first half. They told us they would win. Called our city their second home and brought their own furniture. I couldn't have said it any better, Tony P56. They called their shot. They moved in some furniture. I mean, how disrespectful is that, right? How disrespectful is that? And, I love disrespect. It's my favorite thing to talk about. How disrespectful was it for their coach to say, oh, no, we're going to beat them. Then their owner to say, oh, no worries. We got our second most fans in their city. We'll show up and we'll show out. And then they say, in order to make those fans that are going to take over your stadium comfortable, we're going to bring our own furniture just so we can make them feel at home, since that is our second home. And, while we're here, we'll just win the football game too. Yeah, the coach said we'd win, so we'll do that too. Makes me sick to my damn stomach, because that if we had done everything that they did, I would be insufferable. I would be talking so much trash now. I would have been tempered because of how Dak and the offense played. I would have probably tempered some of that enthusiasm. But if I bring furniture to your house unannounced, I don't ask your permission. I have the movers knock on the door. You look through the peephole and said, hey, it's a moving truck. Did you order something? No, I didn't order anything. You open up the door and the movers don't say anything. They just bring the furniture in. They bump you in the process, bring the furniture in, and set it down in your living room and walk out. And you say, wait a minute, that's not ours. And they slam the door. You know how disrespectful that is? To then, an hour later, you hear another knock. And now it sounds like the police is knocking. So you go to the door because you want to know who's disrespecting my front door like this. It better be the police, because if not, somebody's going to have a problem. You look through the peephole, and before you can reach for the knob, the door slams open and hits you in the face. You fall backwards, and a bunch of Cowboys come running into your house and sit down on the damn couch that they had to move into your living room just an hour ago. How disrespectful is that? They didn't take their shoes off. They didn't ask for your permission. They came in, they got comfortable, they went to the pantry, they got beverages and snacks, and they sat down and they took over your TV and they took your remote control. And we did nothing about it. If that's not disrespect, I don't know what is. And they were truly, truly disrespectful in every sense of the word. And we let them do it. In our house. And again, I've said this before. It may be half filled, it may be sewage leaking, and it may be a dump, but it's our dump. Well, they said, you know what? It's our dump now. To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump, dump. It's our dump now. Give me that. They took the remote, they took our pride, they took our ego and our dignity, and they left right back out the front door where they came, when they bust in and put the furniture down and sat down and took over. And that, my friends, is why this loss sucks. 1988. 1988 is the last time we beat the Cowboys 3 times in a row. The BHHD Washington report. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, would love to see more Cam Sims. What a catch. I think he's, and with Terry being out, we don't have a choice. Terry's not playing next week against the Eagles. Understand that. We don't have a choice. There will be more Cam Sims next week. Out of necessity. That was a hell of a catch. And I've been waiting to see that for a very long time. And let me apologize to Mike McCarthy. I don't like to call people names. Okay? I'm not gonna call him names. I can't stand Mike McCarthy though. The sight of his face incites emotions in me that shouldn't exist for a person that I don't actually know personally. He bothers me. But that's no reason to disrespect another man. I'm not going to do that again. Lunchbox, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, tough game, Lou, but can't wait to see them with some of our tools back in the box. When is that going to happen? HTTWFT. When's that going to happen, Lunchbox? That's the problem, is Logan Thomas isn't coming back till next year. I don't know when Terry's coming back. That was a significant concussion. I was glad he just didn't lay there on the field. That was a significant, jarring of his brain. All right. Gibson can't stop fumbling. Curtis Samuel is non-existent. If you would have told me he didn't play today, I would have said, you're right. I don't think I saw 10 out there. What are these weapons that you speak of? What are you referring to? Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Tony P56 writes, Ron was right about not making what's interesting important, but what do you think he may have downplayed too much in the media? Team came out flat. No, because what he did in the media isn't what he was doing behind closed doors. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's why Mike McCarthy's a clown, because I don't care how the question's phrased and everybody, oh, well, what is he supposed to say? What he's supposed to say is, hey, that's a good Washington football team. I don't care how the question is phrased. I don't care if they're leading you into an answer. How you deflect the question is how 31 other coaches would have deflected the question. That's a damn good football team over there in Washington. They've won 4 straight. We got our work cut out for us. And, we feel like we're going to be able to do some things against them to give us a chance, but it's not going to be easy. We'll see what happens on Sunday. That's how you answer the question. But he disregarded us. Oh, no, we're going to win the game. I'm confident in that. Okay, if that's how you feel, which you should feel that way, but you don't say it, Ron, don't trust me. Ron downplayed it in the media because he's not giving Dallas any bulletin board material. He's not going to get into a war of words with Mike McCarthy. F him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell my team they don't respect us. They think we're a joke. They think they're going to come in here and run us out of our own building, which they almost did. What this says to me, this wasn't for a lack of effort. Some people in the MOBB, oh, this team is lack of effort and soft and this, that, and the third. No, this was a lack of talent. This is a talent issue. Dallas has more of it than we do. I think we were better coached than them because for everything that went wrong and for as much talent as they have over there, we lost by 7 in a game that we were thoroughly dominated in every sense of the word. We lost by 7, and we had the ball with a chance. And we played the officials, if you ask me, in this game. Thought there were some bogus calls. We hurt ourselves, though. I don't want to make the officials a bigger part of this than it needs to be because you can't line up off sides on 3rd and 10 when you're going to get off the field. Can't do that. That's on you. Can't line off offsides again in another crucial situation and give them another opportunity. You can't do those things. I thought that was the turning point of the game because if Daniel Wise doesn't line up offsides, they got to settle for a field goal. unless they want to get brash and go for it because it was like 4th and 3. Knock yourself out. But they got another opportunity and they scored a touchdown. And to me, that changed the whole complexion of the game. And we never recovered from that. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Just Andre, greatly appreciate you. Writes, I just wish we had a guy like Micah on our team for once. If Terry doesn't come back next week, there goes the offense. That could be the case. Terry's not coming back next week. Don't fool yourself. You know how these concussions work. He's missing at least a game. All right, at least a game. So we were saying the same thing about Chase Young last year. I mean, literally, this time last year, Chase Young was making a run at Defensive Player of the Year, and we were talking about, oh, my God, I'm so glad we lost that game to the Giants. Look, we got Chase Young. He's a beast. Now this year, wish we had a guy like Micah Parsons. Well, last year, this time, we were saying we had a guy like Micah Parsons. What a difference a year makes. Dallas Cowboys Pro Show. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hey, bro, good game. Y'all came to play. That's debatable. He says, we will see y'all next week or the week after next. Collab with me sometime, bro. Hope your quarterback heals up. Much love. Thank you for the super chat. Dallas Cowboys Pro Show. Got one here from a lot. And again, Dallas Cowboys Pro Show. Hit me in the DMs and we'll see if we can get something going. I can't make any guarantees or any promises to you, but the best way to go about that is to DM me on socials. A lot. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what up, Lou? What up? Taylor was horrendous today. Shaking my head, bro. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else I need to add to that. He wasn't good. A lot of it stems from the fact that he wasn't protected. He was under siege. Our offensive line got their asses whooped. And that's across the board. Cornelius Lucas, Brandon Sheriff, Tyler Larson, Eric Flowers, Charles Leno. Every single one of them at some point lost a matchup or two. Every single one of them. Sheriff got beat by Parsons. Larson got steamrolled and broke his ankle against Neville Gallimore. Cornelius Lucas didn't even get out of his stance. And DeMarcus Lawrence ran right by him for a sack on a third down. Like, everybody got their asses handed to him in this game at some point. Eric Flowers luckily didn't have the touchdown to Cam Sims negated because he had hands to the face on that play. I don't know how the hell they missed that. It's one of the few times anything went in our favor in this game. Daniel Haros, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Daniel writes, why are y'all blocking Cowboy fans? I am not blocking anyone. Now, I have mods, and if there are people being flagrant and saying crazy stuff, then they have the power to do that. I would hope that they're not blocking people that are just talking trash. Normal trash, not offensive or disrespectful trash. Trash talk is trash talk. I don't mind that, but if they're talking out of the side of their neck, and they're saying crazy stuff, then yeah, they got to go. But again, I'm not blocking anybody. Hopefully, the mods aren't being overly sensitive and letting people express themselves. But again, if they're going too far and they're out of pocket, then yeah, got to slap them on the wrist. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just Andre writes, without Terry, this might be the worst wide receiving core in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, we're not the worst, but we are back to where we were last year without Terry. Understand that. Remember, it was Terry and a bunch of undrafted dudes last season. And we talked about, man, we need we need about 3 receivers. You know what? We were so bad, they went out and got 4 new receivers after last year's debacle. They went out and they got Adam Humphries, drafted De'Ami Brown, drafted Dax Milne, and added Curtis Samuel. That's how bad we were at receiver last year. Well, you take Terry out of the mix, And all you really have left is DeAndre Carter, who, yeah, he didn't have a great game, but he's been good this season, right? Let's not let this one game define what his impact has been. He's been good this year. You still got Adam Humphries. Cam Sims is coming on. And what else do you have after that at receiver? De'Ami Brown is a non-factor right now. Curtis Samuel is non-existent right now. What else do you have? So without Terry, I don't know if we have outside of Adam Humphries, do we have a true one-on-one separator, winner? I think the answer is no. We'll see. We're going to have to find out. They're going to have to find a way against the Eagles. F. Altus, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. F. Altus writes, FedEx Field is cursed. You see that pair of scissors on the grass? That field invents new ways to hurt players. I will lay off the rook for now. Yeah. You see Heineke get injured and have to pick up a pair of scissors off the turf. Like, yeah. I'm not one of those cursed guys. FedEx Field is trash. It's always been trash. When it was built too quickly. Jack Kent Cook wanted to see the stadium built before he died, and it was a mess. It was thrown together. It's performing like a stadium that was thrown together. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of things fundamentally wrong with the stadium, but it's not the stadium. It's the product on the field that's the problem. If it were a dump, but it was a dump filled with 60,000, 70,000 of our screaming fans, and we were winning, who'd give a shit? Nobody. But it's games like this that frustrate you, because before you blink, if you went to church today and you came home, it was 18-0, and it wasn't even the second quarter yet. That's pathetic. So the biggest game, I talked about this being the biggest game at FedEx Field against Dallas since 2012. And that's what we get in the first quarter? That's the effort we get from the offense? The defense gives you a turnover in great field position, and you give it right back? That's the best we can do? That's frustrating. And I thought Scott Turner wasn't good in this game. And I'm a Scott Turner apologist. I didn't think he was good in this game. Even down to the last offensive snap we took. It's 3rd and 3. We've got more than 2 minutes left on the clock. We've got 2 timeouts in our back pocket. At that point, I think we got 2 timeouts in our back pocket. You got the 2-minute warning still. It's 3rd and 3. You know you're going for it on 4th down. Why are you throwing? Dallas is playing soft. They want to keep everything in front of you. They're going to give you 3 yards on the ground. Spread them out. Give it to Jarrett Patterson. Move the sticks. Why? Situational awareness. We lack it. A lot. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up a lot. Greatly appreciate you, writes. No more decoys. Let the guys touch the ball. Agree. I mean, at this point, that's all 10 is a certified, bona fide decoy. He's on it. And what are we decoying again? Who's falling for 10 going in ghost motion anyway? Like, are they afraid? He hasn't done anything, so why would they be afraid of him going in motion? Barry Curtis Jr., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, got to give it to him. Micah Parsons is my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. Great pick by Dallas. I've already said this. You say what you want about Dallas. They know how to draft. Period. I've said this for years with the Cowboys. For years. You say what you want about their organization, how they're run. They're willing to take risks on knuckleheads like Randy Gregory, like Michael Parsons, and I don't even know if he's a knucklehead or not, but they're willing to take risk on guys like that. They're willing to roll the dice on those players that are a little troubled, that have red flags. They're willing to do that. But even outside of that, they draft guys like Tony Pollard. They draft guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, who was good at Boise State. He wasn't great, but they saw the potential. They draft guys like Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma. Like, these are the guys that they get routinely on a year-in, year-out basis in the draft. They draft well. I got to give them credit. I think this year their draft wasn't as strong. Micah Parsons obviously is a stud. I thought their free agency was outstanding. That's what pretty much made this defense what it is the additions of Jaron Kearse and Keanu Neal and DeMonte KZ. Like, those guys came in and really fortified the back end. Remember, their secondary was awful last year. Horrendous. Dallas could always get pressure. Remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but they had Robert Quinn, and he was bagging quarterbacks when it looked like his career was on the downside. He came to Dallas and he was bagging QBs. They always can get pressure. The back end was so bad last year. Well, they revamped that. They're a much better group. I don't think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Barry Curtis Jr., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Thought the defense played great. Really saw some of the limitations on Taylor's arm today. So you were one of the ones that you had blinders on, because Taylor's arm limitation has been on display all season long. Like, if you're just noticing it today, then you didn't want to see it, because there were games where after the game we talked about his limitation throwing the football, his size. And I told you I cringe every time he gets hit because he's small. He's tiny, man. And eventually this was going to happen. And it did. I at the end of the day, I want a bigger quarterback. Like, Matt Corral might be available in this year's draft, and he may be the best option. But, these small guys getting balls batted and having to find these, alternate throwing angles because they're smaller quarterback, that's for the birds, man. I want one of these 6'4" dudes, 6'5" guys. Like, they don't grow on trees, though. They don't grow on trees. And I don't think there's one in this year's draft that really entices me. But, man, we need something. I can say that much. McAllister Nicholas, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. McAllister writes, I hate losing, but this one hurts. We play better in Dallas. Why all the Jamin Davis hate from fans? His measurables in combine made him a project. They hate on Jamin Davis because he's not Micah Parsons. They want immediate impact. Just like someone earlier, I want to say it was FL2, someone earlier was talking about De'Ami Brown's a bust as well. Like, I mean, this is what you get from people when they're impatient. I told you guys, De'Ami Brown shouldn't be the first, second, or third option this year. He should be an afterthought. We haven't gotten anything. And I will say we haven't gotten anything out of him since like week 2, 3, early in the season. I think the Giants game was his best game. We haven't gotten anything out of him since he got injured. And I want to say he got injured either in Buffalo or in Atlanta, but we haven't got anything out of him since the injury. Other guys have passed him on the depth chart and in the pecking order, and he just never has gotten his footing back. But that said, he's a rookie. This is what you expect out of rookies. You go across the league, and there are not many impactful wide receivers that are rookies, making plays in the NFL this year. Justin Jefferson's and the Terry McLaurins and the CeeDee Lambs of the world, and some of these guys that burst onto the scene, they're aberrations. They're not the norm. So I don't like to get into those conversations. The whole Jamin Davis thing, I told you guys he was going to be a work in progress. I actually like the development I'm seeing from Jamin Davis. He's growing as a football player. He's only going to get better. But he's not making splashy plays. He had a chance to make a pick today. He'll see that one in his sleep. That could have taken points off the scoreboard for Dallas. But eventually he'll make plays. And I said that I thought he was going to make a play. I had the wrong linebacker. I felt like a linebacker was going to make a play. I thought it was going to be Jamin Davis. I really did. But it was Cole Holcomb. I felt like somebody was going to make a play for us today at linebacker. Had the wrong one. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, Law, you use your super chats to pay off refs today? I just know the refs, I thought they were horrible. But again, that's not why we lost this game. We made a bunch of mistakes. We were offside several times today. We turned it over. The Cowboys made some crazy plays. That Randy Gregory play is phenomenal. When you don't have a Montez Sweat, those are the types of plays you miss because Sweat can make that play. So, yeah, man. It's the officials weren't great, but they were not the reason we lost. Let's see if we've gotten through all the super chats. Got one here from Brandon Hayes. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Brandon. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon Hayes writes, how does Terry get no receptions? Ish is crazy. He didn't get targeted. I bet you Terry only got targeted 3 times, 4 max in this game. Had the little slant they tried, and Diggs was all over him. Broke that up. They had the one that I thought he beat Diggs on. And if that ball's laid out there, Terry runs under it, and it's a 50-yard completion. Taylor underthrows it severely. Terry tries to make a circus catch instead of him just jumping back into Diggs and getting the PI. He tries to make a circus catch, and they don't give him anything, and he doesn't make the catch. And then he had to play down the field where he went up, climbed the ladder, had the ball, and then his head hit the ground, and the ball came out. That would have been a huge play because, I think it's still 24-8 at that point in the game. Maybe it's 27-8, but I think it's still 24-8. And, you get something there, it's a totally different ball game. But, yeah, he wasn't targeted enough in this game. And, again, that to me is the fault of the coordinator. You'll never be able to convince me that it's okay for your best player to not have, 10 to 12 targets in a game. Because there's no reason for him to not touch it in a multitude of ways. Even if the guy covering him is an animal, and I don't think Diggs is. I think Diggs is good. He's not great. You can get Diggs. You can't make mistakes around Diggs. That's the difference, right? Is you make a mistake, he usually makes you pay, which is why he has 9 interceptions. You can smoke Diggs, though. Terry got behind him. But even if Diggs was blanketing him, find ways to give him the ball. Wide receiver screen. Jet sweep. Shallow cross on a mesh concept. They're playing man-to-man coverage. Run mesh concept. Get it to Terry underneath. Get some blockers out in front. There are ways to get your guy involved. Run a slant. We didn't do those things. So that's the kind of stuff that bothers me and boggles my mind. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JB writes, stop playing and get Russell Wilson Division 1. I don't know what it's going to take to get Russell Wilson. I don't even know if I really want to find out. He's 33 years old. He's not playing well right now, but you could easily blame that on the finger. I know they beat up Houston today. I didn't watch the game, but obviously he's an upgrade over anything we have had on this team in decades. But I want my own stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want any more used products, especially if it's north of 30 at the quarterback position. I want my own guy that we can grow with. And we got to figure that out. Let me just say this about Diggs and Terry, because I see there's a lot of conversation about that. Last year in this game, Terry smoked Diggs for a touchdown. Same exact concept, same exact type of route, same result. Terry got on top, just like he did last year. Different quarterback. Kyle Allen has the arm to get it out there, and he did last year. Taylor Heineke doesn't. That's the difference. Barry Curtis Jr., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, of course, we lack talent right now. Half of our team is injured, LOL. But even if they weren't injured, we are pretty banged up. But even if they weren't banged up, I mean, how much of a true difference are some of these guys making, you know? Because the defense is playing well. That's where the most significant injuries are. Yeah, we're missing Chase Rouillet. Yep, we're missing Sam Cosmi at tackle. Could those guys make a difference? Absolutely, they could, right? And Logan Thomas is out. He makes a huge difference, as we saw last week. But outside of that, who are we missing that would have made this incremental difference in what we're doing offensively, specifically? Young and Sweat's presence. You know, I don't hear anybody talking about, man, wish we didn't have, I'm glad we don't have those guys. Could have used one or both of them in this game for sure. And they got to Dak a couple of times, but you could have used them. You never know. You saw what Randy Gregory did today. That's a play Montez Sweat and Chase Young, but Sweat in particular, capable of making. You're not going to get that play made by Bummy Routini. You're not going to get that play made by William Bradley King. Shaka Tony's not making that play as much as I like me some Shaka Tony. You know, Casey Tuill's not making that play. Sorry. James Smith-Williams not batting that up in the air and picking it off. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Just Andre writes, what do you think this team's biggest need is besides QB? I personally, there are several positions I think we could upgrade significantly. I think we could still use a playmaking free safety. That's one position I think we could upgrade. I still think that I love Logan Thomas. I still think we could use more athleticism. Maybe Ricky Seals-Jones is that, but and they may not be looking for a tight end, but John Bates is cool. But John Bates is, to me, he's the tight end 3. After watching him, he's your third option at tight end. You know, he should not be on the field as your second tight end. He should be TE3. I still think we're missing an athletic dynamo at tight end. I love Logan Thomas. I would like to see another athletically gifted guy as the second tight end, but that's nor here nor there. Offensively, I talked about a big possession receiver. You know, Cam Sims showed me something today, but I think we still need a big body receiver, guy that's covered, that you still throw it to anyway, and he makes tough contested catches. I don't think we have that guy on the roster right now. We don't have anybody making tough contested catches. Okay, he's not open. Still throw it to him anyway. I don't feel like we have one of those guys. Offensive line, I think we could use an upgrade at several positions, most notably left tackle. But, you know, when you assess everything on this team, it starts at quarterback. Because if you get that right, so a lot of the stuff that we have is workable. But it starts with the quarterback. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, safety could use an upgrade. Offensive line, you know, tackle in particular could use an upgrade. I would go with another tight end. I go with a big possession receiver. Like, but these are all wants. Those aren't needs necessarily. So, obviously, linebacker is still a need on this team. I like Jamin Davis. I don't love him. I love Cole Holcomb. But that's it. That's all we have. You need more than that. So, linebacker definitely, to me, something that we need to invest in as well. But anyway, I digress. Yin Yang Experience. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Yin Yang Experience writes, Scott Turner is going to have to include Samuel. Your thoughts? I already talked about that already. Like, what is he on the team for if we're not going to get him to football? Like, one of my keys to the game was we needed Terry, AG, JD, and Curtis to step up. And it could have been any combination of them. None of them stepped up. JD didn't even play. And I thought he would play. Curtis, non-factor, didn't even have a touch in the game. Antonio Gibson was a non-factor, had another costly fumble. And Terry didn't even have a catch in this game. I can't tell you the last time he didn't have a catch in a game, which is a farce because even if my guy's struggling, I'm going to get him a touch or two. And they never did that. This was not a good game by Scott Turner. I'm just going to say that. Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I missed the first few games of the season. How did Cosme do? He did well. After the first game where he got baptized by Joey Bosa and the Chargers, I thought he bounced back beautifully after that, and he was outstanding. And we thought we had something. And we still do. But then the injuries cropped up, and he hasn't been right since. But there was like a 3-game stretch there where Cosme was dominant. The Giants game, the Bills game, I thought he was lights out in that game, even though we stunk it up offensively. It wasn't because of him. And then the following week against the Falcons, he was outstanding. And then I think he got injured against the Saints in week 5, and that was that. I think it was the week 5 game against Saints. If not, he was outstanding because we didn't hear a peep out of Cam Jordan that game, who's one of the better defensive ends in the league. If it wasn't that week, it was week 6. He didn't play past the Chiefs in week 6. So he was outstanding early on. Let's see. I think that's the last super chat we have, and that's going to get us out of here today. What an ugly performance that was. The score really doesn't do this game any justice. This was such a horrible offensive performance. And you know what? Earlier in the season, we would have given our right arm for this kind of performance where the defense shows up, the offense isn't any good, but we're fighting defensively. Because so many games early in the season, our offense had to fight and give us a chance and our defense wasn't any good. We were complaining and we were like, oh my God, this, that, and the third. This is what we thought we would be when the season started. A team defensively that would give us a chance every week. And if we could get anything from our offense, we'd feel good. Well, now we're that team. We're the team we thought we would be when we showed up in week 1. The defense is good enough to win us any game, but now the offense. And I said, if the offense was just better than it was last year, we're going to be a team that you have to contend with. If the defense plays the way that we think they were capable of playing, which they are, even though we're minus Montez Sweat and Chase Young. And in this particular game, Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams, they still came to play and they gave us a chance. But the offense has reverted back to last year's measures, and there was a stretch in the middle of the season against Kansas City and against New Orleans where this offense was putrid. And Denver, throw Denver in there as well. Green Bay, we moved it in that game. We just were awful in the red zone. But there were 3 games, Denver, Kansas City, and New Orleans, where this offense was a joke. This felt more like that today. Couldn't protect, couldn't catch. We didn't make plays. We're fumbling. We're not making things happen. And then our quarterback started to press. We don't know what the damage is from this game. This game could be much more than just one loss. If Heineke's out for an extended period of time and McLaurin's out for multiple weeks, and Charles Leno, his back starts to flare up on him after getting injured today. And, Bobby McCain's injury is more significant than we think. And, we know Tyler Larsen's done for the season. He broke his ankle today. If those injuries are more significant and linger, this game, the Cowboys may have just ended our season. And that would do nothing more than just bring joy to their hearts. But this loss could be really massive and far-reaching consequences could be had from this loss. We'll see what the injury damage is, but it doesn't look good right now. But here's the silver lining. I told you this already. I'll repeat it. For as bad as we played today, we lost by 7. We had a blocked extra point. We had a fumble, scoop and score. We had a failed 4th down sack. We had 4 turnovers lead to 18 Cowboys points. We had a slew of untimely penalties. We killed ourselves. One of the keys to the game was control what you can control. That was the ball. That was penalties. That was mistakes. Control what you can control. We didn't do that at all today. And with that being said, with all the injuries, with all the guys missing this game, with COVID and injuries, we lost by a touchdown, which speaks volumes about the defense and this team's will to fight. If we play, and I said this after Green Bay, and it sucked then and it sucks now, but if we play the way we played in this game defensively against Philadelphia next week, now I can't speak for the offense. If the offense does what they did this game, we'll lose again. I can't see how the offense could be any worse than it was today. Pressure, sacks, turnovers, 3 of 14 on 3rd downs. We were putrid offensively in every sense of the word. If the offense just stays out of the way next week and the defense plays the way it played in this game, contains Jalen Hurts, and he brings a whole different set of problems next week. But if we can contain him somehow, force him to be a thrower of the football, not a runner, we'll have a chance to win no matter who's on the field for us next week. But if we do the things we did on offense and we turn it over and the defense can't stop Jalen Hurts from running, it'll be another long day. And this loss will turn into 2 losses, and then our season will start going in the wrong direction. So we're going to find out truly how resilient this team is, because this was an ugly loss. And for how big this game was built up, for us to come out and give up 18 points in the first quarter, this was a damning blow. I want to see how the team responds, and it'll be interesting to see how they play moving forward. So, let's see. Got a super chat here from Nick Caps. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Lou, I cheered my ass off. Now stuck in traffic, 5-hour trip to North Carolina. It's another reason it sucks to go to games. It's the traffic afterwards. Nothing worse than 95 traffic. If you've ever been in it, then you know DMV traffic is the worst. Anyway. Glad you were there and trying to do your part in bringing the dub home. Jake Willis. What you talking about, Willis? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what a hard one to watch, but we take our beating and learn from this moving forward. It was a hard watch, but there are lessons to be learned from this. And I think the one, if you're Ron Rivera, that you continue to harp on is that we fought. Yeah, this was not our best performance. Far from it, as a matter of fact. We were terrible for stretches of this game. But the defense kicked ass. Special teams, they chipped in. They weren't great today. But the block kick, that pisses me off. When is Joey Sly coming back anyway? He's got like 1 more week because he's on IR. So he's got 1 more week. I tell the team, we fought. If you continue to fight that way, no matter how things are going, if you continue to fight like that, we're going to win more games than we lose. That would be my rallying cry. But it's a bitter pill to swallow. You lose your quarterback, you lose your receiver, your tackle goes down, your running back fumbles again, you lose your safety, your center's gone for the season. Now you're on your 4th string center again. Yeah, it's rough. It's a bitter pill to swallow. So we'll see what happens. Anyway. Brandon Brantley. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon Brantley writes, Joe Brady available. Off-season possibility? Nah. Brady, I think he's shown that he's probably more of a collegiate coach. Teddy Bridgewater complained last offseason that he didn't even have red zone, offense. They didn't have that drill and that period in practice. They didn't put together a red zone package. I think Joe Brady's more of a college coach, which is crazy because I thought he had the chops to get it done, but that's not the case. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Cowboys win 27-20. I'm disappointed. I'm not mad because the boys fought. I would have been pissed if we didn't fight and this thing ended up 33-10. But we fought. If this thing would have ended up 33-8, yeah, I'd have been pissed. But I'm more disappointed than anything else. Because, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. We wanted Dallas. We kept saying we want Dallas. Well, we got Dallas. And what we also got was disrespect and an ass whooping in our house. And we got nobody to blame for it but ourselves. So that's frustrating. Big Pain. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Pain writes, Parsons is the best player in our division. If you can't neutralize him, it's over. I don't know if you're wrong. In what are we in? 13 games for Parsons now? He might be the best player in the division already. He's that good. He said, we on y'all heads next week, though. Our O-line is back. #1 rushing. We'll see. I got nothing for you because I don't even know who's playing next week. If we just come out of this game with a loss, but I know we got Heineke, we got Terry, I'm still talking cold hard cash. I got nothing for you right now because I don't even know who's suiting up for the burgundy and gold next week. I don't know who we're taking on a road trip up 95. I can't tell you right now. More likely than not, Kyle Allen will be throwing the football to Ricky Seals-Jones, DeAndre Carter, Adam Humphries, Cam Sims. He might be handing it off to Jarrett Patterson, and maybe J.D. McKissick's back. Maybe. I don't know if Sadiq Charles is protecting him at left tackle or not, or if it's Cornelius Lucas who slides from right to left and we get Cosme back. I don't know anything. So it's hard for me to say anything right now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I digress. You guys enjoy the rest of the evening. That one sucks. That one really, truly does suck. But in Ron, I trust. Ron's playing. And one thing you can say, it wasn't pretty, but those boys fought. And that's really off the strength of their head coach, Ron Rivera. So it's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. This is the last thing I'll leave you with. Our 4-game win streak was snapped today. The beauty of it is we get to start a new streak next week. We'll see if they do that or if this thing snowballs and starts to get out of control. Even when we were winning, I didn't think we were going to Dallas to win. So now that we've lost here, it's going to be pretty tough sledding going to Dallas in 2 weeks. Really need to beat Philadelphia next week. That kind of becomes a must-win game. And really, if you want to win the division make the playoffs, at this point, we're probably not going to win the division. Needed to beat Dallas at home. If you're trying to make the playoffs, you probably need to sweep the Philadelphia Eagles, honestly. And if you're not going to sweep them, you need to split with them. You need to split with Dallas. You need to sweep the Giants. Either way, you need to come out of this thing 4-2 in the division. No worse. So we're 1-1 in the division now. We got 4 more of these things. We need to win 3 out of the final 4 in this division. Really, we need to, truth be told, we need to win all 4, but 3 out of 4, I think, will be good enough to get the job done, honestly speaking. But we'll see. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. They're coming off of a bye week. Told you the schedule makers haven't done us any favors. We played 3 teams now. Next week, we'll make 3 in a row with an abnormal amount of time off before the game. Raiders had 10 days off. Cowboys had 10 days off. Now the Eagles will have a full 2 weeks of time to prep, rest, and be ready for us at the crib. We'll see what happens then. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you tomorrow for Washington Football Nightly. It will not be a pretty episode. But until then, God bless and good night.
Louie